Well, hello everyone. It has been a mighty long time since I've done a video for YouTube or anything else per se. I was looking back over on my YouTube channel and I was looking at the videos that I had created when I was going through my cancer journey. For those that may not know, I was diagnosed with a rare neuroendocrine of the lung cancer. Third stage is when they found it back in 2014. And for it to be in the third stage when they located it, it was not showing very promising signs that I was going to make it out. I am a, at that time, I was religious, but I am now spiritual. Big difference, in my opinion. And I had to rely on my faith to get me through. I don't believe in coincidence. I feel like things happen when they are supposed to, regardless of what is going on. If you hear any background sound, that's because I'm outside enjoying some of the beautiful weather. So, as I went through my journey, it started in 2014, actually. Matter of fact, they diagnosed me in November of 2014. It was a really, really hard time because I had just gotten married. I had just lost my sister, not blood related, but a very close friend that was more like a sister than a friend. I had just lost her earlier in the year of 2014 to brain cancer. And it was a time that I was in, after she passed, I was engaged at that time, and then I got married. And about, let's see, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months exactly after I got married, I was diagnosed with stage 3 neuroendocrine lung cancer. And it wasn't looking all that promising to them, but because I stood on faith, I gotta admit, for a moment, I didn't know if I was gonna make it, but I stood on faith. And I had to transition myself from being religious to being spiritual. Religion will tell you a lot of things. Religion will tell you a lot of things not to do, a lot of things to do, a lot of places to go, and places you can't go, and whatever the case may be. And that wasn't for me. I wanted to live a life where I wanted to feel like I could have a personal relationship with God without having constraints to how it all worked out. So I took a spiritual trip on the other side of things. And as I was saying, I was diagnosed in November 2014, and by April of 2015, I was in remission. I believe that my faith has a lot to do with that. I truly believe in my heart that from the prayers of myself as well as the prayers of others, that I was healed by God. Um, I was going through a lot at that time, and looking back on some of the videos, a lot of you guys inquired on what happened after those videos. Well, to give a bit of an update, in those videos you could see that I was going through a lot, not only with the cancer treatment, but also in my marriage. Things were horrible, and just, it was a bad time. So to give an update, I ended up moving out from my husband, and about, we lived, I want to say, maybe 2 3 years apart. Everybody tests the water from time to time to see if things are going to work. And well, we never came back together. We just, it was not going to work. We wasn't seeing eye to eye on things. And continuing our lives in separate directions was the best way for us to go. So that's what happened. Ended up getting a divorce and just continuing on with life. And then I received the best blessing ever. I was blessed with a daughter, and she has been the light of my world. Also, may not have known, I was told that I could not have kids, and I had come to an acceptance of that. And I'm so sorry for the noise. I had come to the acceptance of that, and was like, okay, not every woman can be a mom. And God showed me something different, you know. Um, oh God, stuff flying out of trees. So now I have a daughter. Um, and I tell you, my life is totally changed. She is autistic, and that is a total different journey all within itself. But I tell you, there was nothing in this world that I would not have changed for receiving a blessing of her. So I wanted to let you all know that I am doing fine. I am living. Some comments there was questioning, like, did she die, or what happened? But I am here. I am living. Um, and just, I'm here. I don't really know much to say because I'm not a talker that much nowadays. Um, but I want to say, just stepping back and looking at my journey with God, not everybody wants to talk about him, as many say he's not for them, or whatever. But just from my own personal experience, God brought me through a lot, for them to tell me that there was a possibility that the treatments were not going to work. You know, I was a new wife, I was a new stepmom, and, all that came along. So to tell me that as a possibility that I was not going to live because of this cancer was not as settling to me as I needed it to be. I was not accepting that. So I went into prayer. I also sought out others who I knew had a strong prayer life, and we prayed. We prayed and we fasted, and we did all that I thought that I needed to do, or whatever God led my heart to do, and that of which I was physically able to do at that point in time. And in April of 2015, I went back and I did my final scan, and I was cancer free. But I remember going and being prayed over by some really close people, and I remember hearing God say to my spirit, are you ready to be healed? And a lot of people would have, just took it as maybe it was the side effects of the medication, of which I was told at one point. But I stood strong, and I believed in that journey at that point. And I told God that yes, I was ready to be healed, and that I didn't want to suffer anymore. And at that point, I was at a stage where I didn't want to do any more treatments. I didn't want to go to another radiation therapy. I didn't want to do chemo for another day. I didn't want to do any of that, because going through chemo is like the worst thing ever. It's like they're pumping you full of something that's killing every living cell over and over and over again, because they're trying to kill the production of the cancer cells. So that means that anything that reproduces, such as hair, all of that goes away. I gotta admit, I wasn't mad. I got tired of shaving for the longest. Even though the ideal of not shaving because I had cancer, I take it as a joke, but in all reality, that is something that is very hard for a lot of cancer patients to deal with. But I knew and I trusted that I was going to recover and that I was going to get through it. So, I embraced it. I remember waking up one morning, going into the bathroom, brushing my hair, and I ran my hands through my hair, and a glob of hair came out, and the tears just burst. It wasn't like I didn't know. I'm so sorry for the background sound. It wasn't like I didn't know that it was not was gonna happen, because I had gone and spoken with my the therapist at that time, for before I started my chemo and radiation therapy. I spoke to the doctor. I call her a therapist, but I had spoken with her, and she told me of the things that was going to occur. She let me know that my hair was going to come out. She let me know that there was going to be changes to my skin, that I was going to become very sensitive to sunlight, just the whole 9 yards. So when I ran my hands through my hair and a handful of hair came out in my hand, I decided it was time to go to the barber. I had hair that was down to here at the time, and I just could not imagine myself with no hair. So I went and I sat in the barber chair, and just as much as she cut off with the clippers is just as much tears streaming from the eyes. Because most people, your hair kind of shapes you. It's almost like your eyebrows. You can do different things to your hair and it makes you look different. So the ideal of not having any, come on now. So I shaved it all off, and I got to tell y'all, I became a whole nother person. Like, as you can see, my hair is very short now, and it's not short because it won't grow. My hair grows tremendously, quickly, actually. Matter of fact, just the winter months, I was going to see my barber and keeping it in a low cut fade style, and I decided that I wanted it to grow back in because, the winter months are kind of harsh and it's cold. So, it grows healthy like it has always grown. I will say that there has been some thinning. The thickness of my hair is no longer the same since the chemo and radiation treatment. But I will say that my hair grows without a problem. So I just want to say to anyone that is going through radiation and chemo and that's fighting cancer, it is possible for your hair to grow back. The texture may not be the same, but it will grow back. Constant massaging of the scalp. Any natural oils that you feel like you would want to apply. Coconut oil, tea tree oil, just different things to kind of waken up the scalp and things of that nature helped out a lot. I went through another journey of doing natural oils and everything that I also mixed into hair oil that I purchased, and that's a whole nother journey all by itself. But my hair has grown, and it will grow, and it does grow, but it's just me. I keep it cut. I am now older in age, and my daughter has very long hair. I mean long hair. We're talking down her back to her butt length type hair. So having to always do her hair and having to do my hair, it's not something I would want. So I don't want to wrestle with all of my hair and her hair too. So I just keep mine short, as you see. But I didn't find God when I found out I had cancer. I already knew God. I had a personal relationship that came through prayer and not so much of attending church, because you can go and sit in church and your life can be totally off track and you not even really have a relationship with God. You can go sit in church every single Sunday, every Wednesday, whenever they're calling for folks to be in the church house, and still not have a personal relationship with God. So I already knew who God was. He had done many things in my life prior to, had helped me through many situations. So by the time I had began my cancer journey, he was right there. But I just want to tell anyone who is facing death because of a medical condition, it's never the end until God says it's the end. Rather, that's something that you personally believe or not. I thought my life was over. I'm not going to lie. My mom had passed from cancer. My grandmother had passed from cancer. Pretty much all of my father's siblings on his side had passed from cancer. So my husband at the time, or many members on his side of the family, had passed from cancer. My sister earlier that year passed because of brain cancer. So there was nothing in my life that told me that, hey, you're standing at stage 3. You're going to make it. There was nothing there. It took a lot of prayer and personal prayer, not other people praying for me, but talking and just being transparent with God in a way that I was not transparent with anyone on earth, and probably not even transparent with myself. But I made sure that if I didn't talk to anyone, and there was many days that I didn't, if I didn't talk to anyone, I talked to God every single day. And my relationship hasn't changed even after being healed. Life get the life in, as they say. But I still have a relationship with God, a personal relationship. I am not one that attends church. Not saying that I don't want to, but there are so many false teachings and people pretty much saying what they want to say compared to what may be leading them or be led for them to say. So I just do my own thing, and I do my best to read the word. I'm not perfect. I don't read it every day. My life is pretty hectic, but it's more about prioritizing. So that is a journey that I am on now. I'm getting back to spending more time with God. And it's like visiting a friend. It's going to him when times are good, going to him when times are bad. You know, just talking. I talk to God about everything. It don't matter what it is. It could be my toe is hurting. It's my hair is not growing right, or my skin don't feel right, or I needed help drinking more water, so I went into prayer on that. And I just made it a habit to talk to him, and again, I'm not perfect. It's I try to pray at least once a day, but just kind of leave an open conversation with God throughout the day. But even that is a struggle for many. But the one thing I do is try to make sure that my heart is turned toward God, and meaning that I try to learn what it is through his word, as well as talking with him in conversation, to try to be led by his Holy Spirit, so that way I know where to go, what to do, where not to go, what not to do. And I got to tell you, with having a personal relationship with him, it has kept me out of a lot of things. There has been days where things would have been going on. Prime example, okay. My daughter was supposed to go on a school field trip, and something in me was just like, maybe she doesn't need to go. And what child doesn't want to go with their classmates and go with their school? But I just kept having this feeling in my spirit that was like, do not send her. So I didn't. She didn't go that day. And later on, what I came to find out the very next day, their school, it started to snow in our state. And her school bus was stuck 3 to 4 hours because it was fresh snow. And they could not drive on the streets because the streets had not been treated. They were stuck out and away from the school 3 to 4 hours after the performance that they went to go see that day. It was during the winter time, so it was a Christmas program, but they were stuck 3 4 hours outside of the time that was scheduled for them to get back to school because the roads wasn't treated. So it's simple little things like that. There's been times that I've wanted to drive down a certain street, and I would get this prompting in my spirit to say, don't go that way, and there was just as simple as there was an area that I normally drive the route to take my daughter to school. This particular day, I had a prompting in my spirit that said, go this way, don't go that way. I later come to find out on the news that entire area, including the road, was destroyed because of a building that was on fire, and there was all types of debris and everything that was in the middle of the road burning and things of that nature. So I truly believe that God can lead you through his Holy Spirit to be safe and away from danger if you would just listen. But in order to have that type of relationship, you have to talk to God like he's your friend. There's times where I don't feel like getting up and cooking dinner, and I have to pray. God help me to get up and do this because my family has to eat, but because I deal with anxiety and a couple other things, so they can be they can be offsetting at times to keep me from doing the things that I need to do. But again, prayer and a personal relationship with God has helped me through all of that. You know, I just encourage anyone that is facing cancer or any debilitating type of medical issue or anything that may be going on mental, bipolar, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, anything that will keep you from being yourself. A lot of people will quick to tell you to pray, pray, pray. But what I'm going to say is just go talk to God like he's your friend. You know, he's there. He's there when nobody else is. In the wee hours of the night, odd hours of the day, God is always there. And he just wants you to invite him into your day like you would invite a friend. No difference than you talk to him like you would talk to your mate. Or, because he wants to know, even though he is God and he knows everything, he wants to be invited into a personal space in our lives. So that has helped me get through my cancer journey. It is helping me get through my journey with my daughter and her autism. It is helping me get through my journey with my anxiety and my depression and a few other things that I have going on. But just to be able to know that, okay, Mr. B, just to know that there is always someone there for me to talk to. The only person I found that in is God. I really have. And I don't feel judged. I don't feel like, there's not anything that I can't talk to him about because he's God. He already knows everything. He already sees everything. So why not just talk to him about everything? Because he already knows and he sees. So, what is there that I can hide? I mean, we can hide things from people, but there's nothing that we can't hide from God. So I talk to him about everything. And I really do mean my toe hurts, my leg hurt, my body is aching because I'm working out, whatever the case may be. I just talk to him about everything. So the one thing I would encourage to say is try and approach God from the avenue of a friend and not the person that they say sits up in the sky and does all the judging. He just want to be a part of our personal life. And I apologize for bouncing all over the place, but my frame of thought kind of works that way. My mind it goes, and again, the anxiety has its effects, so the brain don't necessarily always stay in one place. But I just wanted to share that, to come on and say a few words, even though I've said a lot of words. Sometimes we just need people to hear us out. We need to be able to talk and get thoughts out without interruption, without feedback. But I wanted to let everyone know that I am doing fine. I am still in remission. I am healed. I am living, and I'm fine. I have my days, but I'm fine. So I hope this kind of helped everyone. And remember, go and talk to God. Just ask him, say, hey, Lord, it's me. One thing we have to do is to learn to open up and just talk. And if you can't pray out loud, writing it down on a piece of paper is just as good. Sometimes I take time and sit and journal, not as often as I should. But just writing a letter to God makes a bigger difference as well, because not everybody knows what to say or feel like they can pour out everything. So I sit down and I write it in my journal. I write letters to God, and I write out my frustrations. I write out my whatever I'm feeling. I just write it all out, and he still knows. But invite him into your day. Invite him into your heart. Like, one thing I will say, If you feel, that you want to be close to God, just invite him into your heart, you know. Tell him how much you trust him. Tell him how much you need him to lead your life. Accept him into your heart as your personal Lord and Savior. Just open up to him. And I promise you, the more you pour into God, God will pour more than you can ever imagine back into you. He can heal those places where you don't feel fulfilled or healed or loved or cared for. He's there. He's there to do all of that. So just give him a chance. When you stop and you think about it, a lot of people feel like God has failed them, but there's just some lessons in life that we have to learn sometimes where it just seems like nobody is there to help. But if you choose to involve God in your life, he's always working in the background. He's kind of like that app that's running on your phone that never goes to sleep. So he's always there. But invite him into your regular day. Get up in the morning and say, Lord, I invite you into my day. Regardless of where I go and what I do, I want you to be a part of that. And that alone will start helping you walk a different path, so to say. He'll lead you and guide you. Ask him for his direction through his Holy Spirit. And all of that, he'll lead you and guide you. I'm a personal witness of it. I know I can stand on it. But I'm just asking you to try it if you're facing hard times. At any point, you can reach out to me. If you need someone to pray with you, if you need someone to just listen to you, if, whatever will help you get through your day and help you feel more humble or whole, so to say. I'm not God by any means, but I will do all that I can to help you get to God. I found my journey on my own, and sometimes you just need a little nugget of a seed or somebody to say, hey, try it this way or try it that way. But I developed my personal walk with God on my own long time ago, and it was hard. So I'm not trying to say that I know the answers or whatnot, but I'll be more than happy to pray with you or pray for you or however that will work for you. But just know that he's there. It's just waiting for you to come to him. So that's my speech. I realize this video is almost 30 minutes long. Oh my God. But this is my video, and I want to let everyone know that I'm doing okay.